Thank you for submitting your papers. I really enjoyed reading your connections with the interpreters that you made. And I just wanted to take a quick moment to review what was required on the report. And it's part of the video that I posted on explaining the assignment. This is a screen grab of the actual PowerPoint that I used. And so I just wanted to remind you, in case you're wondering why you may be missing some points. The reason is you may not have fulfilled one of these items. And I'll give you a second to look at that. So what I was looking for in this assignment was for you to make that connection with someone who will potentially be a contact that you can continue to reach out to, but also who you may run into as a colleague in the future. I wanted you to understand from somebody else's perspective what their journey to certification was and what impact it may have had on their lives or their career. And also I wanted to see what questions you were interested in and why. Why were you asking certain questions? Was it because it may be the path you might consider, or is it a curiosity that came to mind as you were speaking to them? Whatever the reason, I just wanted to know that. And I also wanted to see your reaction, what you learned and how you felt. It also was a report, so it had to be 2 to 3 pages, type double spaced, 12-point font, which is pretty standard for college writing. I want to also touch on something else that I shouldn't have to touch on, but I feel that as a professor, I would do a disservice if I didn't bring this to your attention. If you've taken me before, you may have seen me talk about this before. But I want you to think about the spectrum of formality in communication. And in this particular instance, it's written communication. So I designed just a very quick little spectrum here that goes from formal, business, family, to the very informal, very casual texting. And so if you think about the way you communicate with people in each of these different categories, we write to them in a very different way for very different reasons. And the way we write transmits not just our communication, but it also shows the level of respect that we have for them. And it also shows the level of formality of the given situation. Example. In the formal setting, it's kind of like an invitation to a special event, a party, a wedding, etc. In the case of business, think about applying for a job or even communicating with your boss. You take a very formal tone. If it's a parent or a family member, you show them respect, you're kind. And then if you're texting with your friends, you text a little bit different with your friends than the way you text your parent, a sibling, or even your boss when you're running late, if you're at the level where you might text them. And so I want you to consider where college writing fits in. I did not deduct any points for grammar or English typos or incorrect use of English, incorrect use of grammar, things like that, because this is not an English class. But I was disappointed to see that some people didn't spell check. I did not deduct points if your paper wasn't submitted written like a college paper, but I do have to bring it to your attention that this is a college class and this is a 200 level class. You should have also already taken English, although it's not a requirement. You should have already taken English as you proceed through your education, and so you should have English under your belt. And of course, I should tell you that if you ever have a need or for assistance in writing your next paper, for example, your observation paper, and we really only have those 2 papers in this class, but there is always the Success Center that they're offering hours on Zoom as well. But I really have to tell you that you have to consider that for a college class, it is an expectation that you would submit a paper written in the style of a college writing, uh, college level of formality, and it's really not formality so much as not casual. So you should really consider that for your future requirements in any class and the expectation of your instructor when submitting assignments. This was a different assignment compared to our journal entries and compared to any other assignments we've been doing. It's one of only two papers required in the class. And I was a little bit disappointed to see the format in which I read some of the papers. And again, I would not be doing my job if I didn't tell you that's something that you have to consider when submitting a paper for a college class. Just think about the way you're submitting something. And if you go back to what I just said about the way you would text a friend versus how you would text a parent versus how you would text a boss, if you think about the way you submit a paper that you're submitting in a college class, why would you submit it any differently if the way you write something transmits the level of respect that you have for the work that you've done, for the class that you're taking, and for the grade that you're earning? So just think about that for a moment. Again, I did not grade you for your English, but I do feel really responsible in making sure that you understand this for your future classes and for the next paper. Thank you so much.